Welcome back to Daytime. We're going to switch things up a little bit and talk about the Bytown Antique and Bottle Club. We have with us members, Jon Church and Carol Cameron. Welcome to Daytime. All right, so I have to tell you, I was a little bit surprised. I'd never heard of the Bytown Antique and Bottle Club. What does that entail?
Well, the club was formed 44 years ago.
Wow.
By a group of collectors who enjoyed collecting Canadiana antiques. And so our show this Sunday at the Sportsplex will be our 44th show. And this year, we're doing something very special to mark the 150th anniversary of Canada.
All right. Let's not go there just yet. Let's tell everybody a little bit about, you know, what you collect, what you do. Because when I read it, I thought, okay, Antique and Bottle Club, I thought, okay, just bottles. But it's not just bottles. It's a whole bunch of different kinds of antiques. Is that right?
Yes, it is. We all collect various things. It started out as a bottle collecting club, but it has grown from there.
So. To different items.
Yes.
You have some things with you here. Are these things that we can expect to see at the show?
Yes, they will actually be in a special display that Jon mentioned that shows different members' items that they've collected that are special to them. But there will be other things of the same type of thing for sale at the show.
Okay, so there's even things to buy. Well, then let's talk about the show. All right, so the show is coming up on which date?
Sunday, this Sunday.
So this coming
9
Sunday.
o'clock at the Sportsplex.
April 30th at the Sportsplex. That's over in Nepean.
Yes.
And what can we expect to see?
Well, for one thing, you can expect to see early pottery. I've brought two examples here.
Okay.
This one has the stamp says from C. Chapman, Upper Bytown. This is made from a redware clay.
Let's put that right here. We're going to see if the camera can get that.
It would date from about the 1840s. And Chapman ran a tavern in what is now Richmond, the village of Richmond. And in 1919, our Governor General at that time, the Duke of Richmond, was quite ill from rabies. He stayed at the tavern that night.
Okay.
And the following morning, hoping to get home to Bytown, he got in a boat to go down the Jock River, where the Chapmans had mills, both grist and sawmills,
okay,
and a farm. But he fell very ill, and he was taken to Chapman's farm on the shores of the Jock River, where he died. But his title, the Duke of Richmond, resulted in the village being given the name of Richmond.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So not only are you selling, you know, these fabulous items, there's so much history attached to it.
That's one of the joys of collecting, the link with history.
Okay, I know we may not have enough time for this, but how do you find out? Like, let's say, you know, I'm going to a yard sale and I find this and it looks intriguing and I have no idea what it is, because sometimes we buy things and we really don't. You don't know it's a gem. How do you go about finding the history of things like that?
Well, I would suggest you start by going to antique shows, such as ours on Sunday.
Genius, right there, bingo.
But you will find people there who can explain things to you, and you can determine what sort of objects you would like to collect.
Beautiful. Tell me about this. This is very intriguing.
Well, when our country was originally settled, of course, the women had very little. They usually came with everything for even a family of 3 or 4 or 5. They only had a trunk, and they had everything in the trunk.
In the one trunk.
So they would start making things, and this was created probably by a husband for his wife. I really loved this because, to me, the early families that settled were Christians for the most part, and I think this represents the Holy Trinity.
Oh, beautiful, yes.
So, and this was probably made by an Indian, and it's to hold scissors. These particular scissors, by the way, were made in Canada.
Okay, but are these antique scissors?
These are probably older. They're probably made in the 40s, and I think they're special because you can't find scissors now that are made in Canada.
Okay, so the camera's panning into this. So we've got the scissors, and now
this is a scissor
here.
Holder, and it was made by Indians.
It's meant to go like this.
Yes, and they made smaller ones as well.
And, oh, I got the wrong way, I think.
And of course, this is a spool holder, so it would have held all of her spools, and some of them had attached to them the little pin and needle holders as well. And this would be a little storage area to keep your thimbles and your
Isn't
scissors.
that
and so on.
interesting? And they would just
Yes.
fit on the inside. And you know what I love about it is that you can tell it was used. Like you can tell that there's some markings on it that this was actually in someone's home. There's history behind this. A mom may have sewn things for her family using this particular item.
And I'm very lucky that it hasn't been overpainted.
Oh no, because that would be the other thing. What happens if someone does have something that's, you know, somewhat, you know, antique, if I can say that, but they've, you know, stained it and repainted it and refixed it. Does it lose some of its value?
Very much.
Really,
Probably at least 75–80% of the value of the piece.
Gets lost if you just
Yes.
change it too much.
Yes.
Really interesting. We also have that big guy right over there next to you.
Yes, this stoneware crock, it belonged to James Boynton in the 1850s, who had a shop on Sussex, and the stamp is of particular interest. You will notice that not only is his name and address on there, but it says CW, which means Canada West. So that means the crock would be dated from somewhere between 1841 and 1867, Confederation. But the other thing that I find interesting is Ottawa is referred to as Ottawa City. And back in the 1850s, when Queen Victoria was trying to decide on the capital for Canada, those who were opposed argued that Bytown was, one, too small to be a city, and two, too rowdy to be a capital. So when in fact in 1858 she chose Ottawa as the capital, some merchants decided to mark their produce or their crocks, their items, as Ottawa City.
Interesting.
Just to celebrate the fact that it was now the capital.
Oh my gosh, I think that's so beautiful. I know that we have less than a minute left. I want to invite everyone once again to visit your show. So we're talking about this Sunday. What are the hours?
It opens at 9.
9 a.m.
Yes.
Are there things to purchase? You can purchase as well, or just to view?
Yes, no, both.
So both. You can view and you can purchase. And let's say someone at home, if they think that they have something, can they bring it there and get an opinion about it?
Certainly.
Yes, by all means.
Yep.
Wonderful.
And then the PN Sportsplex.
And that's at the Nemius Sportsplex. And the website for you is www.ottawacollectors.com. And that's where we can go to get more information. Beautiful. You'll have to bring this back because I'm dying to know about this one. We'll talk about it during the break and maybe I'll share it with everybody at home.
All right.
All right, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, we are talking about Girl Guides. Stay with us. We'll be right back.